Welcome to the podcast series Unshakable Strength, Empowering Black Women, sponsored by the Empower Project. The Empower Project is a partnership between Howard University and Health HIV, sponsored by the PACE grant from Gilead Sciences. The Girlfriends Podcast is a podcast dedicated to addressing the unshakable strength shown and the unique health challenges faced by Black women and girls, particularly in the context of HIV prevention. We will explore important topics such as sexual health, mental well-being, access to healthcare, and strategies for HIV prevention tailored to the needs of Black women and girls. We invite you to listen to our other episodes that explore important topics like fighting for justice, the hidden toll of HIV laws on Black women, or boundaries and healing, nurturing healthy relationships, and so many more that are already available to you. Today's episode is Love After Diagnosis, Redefining Relationships with HIV. In this episode, we will explore a personal journey that sheds light on stigma, self-disclosure, and the pursuit of love. Whether you're newly diagnosed or supporting someone who is, this conversation is a testament to resilience, joy, and the right to romance without fear. It also highlights the importance of HIV prevention, regular testing, and awareness as part of building healthy, informed relationships. Today, I have the honor of introducing my guest, Ms. Shantae Spriggs. Shantae Spriggs is a proud native of Washington, D.C. She's an active member of the community, serving in various roles for local and national organizations. In December 2020, on World AIDS Day, she published her first book, Undetected, More Than a Status, in which she shares her personal journey of living with HIV. Shantae, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for that great introduction. I wasn't expecting.
Absolutely. Girl, let's just dive right in because I've got questions for you. All right. So let's talk about the very first question right off the bat. How did your understanding of love and intimacy shift after your diagnosis? And what did it take for you to begin reclaiming your sense of worth in relationships?
You said let's start right off at the beginning. That is a great question and a loaded question. I would have to say at the beginning, I actually thought there was no romance, no type of love whatsoever in my future, because you have to keep in mind at that time, I thought death was my future. So romance wasn't even an issue. But slowly I started noticing day after day, I'm still here. And then months passed. And at the time I was going through a separation. And then I wanted to, find love again. And I had to start realizing, what does that look like? What does that entail? Does that entail me disclosing? Does that entail someone even accepting me? Do I even accept myself? And so I would say initially it was a question mark there. Then it became an even bigger question mark because I didn't know what it looks like. But then what I found out later was, after all those question marks, I really did not even truly understand or know what love looked like, because previously, up until that point, all my examples of what was supposed to be love from several different types of relationships, weren't always the best. So I actually had to rewrite the narrative of what I thought love should have been for Shantae. So that's it in a nutshell. And we could dive deeper into it.
I love that you talk about rewriting the narrative. That's amazing. You also mentioned disclosure. So talk to me about disclosure. What if you learned about disclosure, including from timing it to navigating people's reactions, and what advice would you give someone who's struggling to sort of have that talk?
Well, I just think it depends on the individual and their comfort level. I know for me, I've always been a bold person. I've always been the one to take up for everyone else. And so it was nothing for me to speak out for other people. It was a little different for me to speak out when it came to myself. And I had to learn that later. That's where that love part comes in. And so once I started coming out more and understanding this is nothing I need to hide from, I felt as though I needed to disclose, because I wanted to give whoever I was dealing with or whomever I was dealing with a choice, because I wasn't given a choice. And that's always something that's in the forefront of my mind. I want them to choose whether they're going to embark in this relationship with me. And two, that has a lot to do with, you have to know yourself, and you have to know what you're capable of And I know I'm the type of individual that I naturally draw people, whether it's in an intimate relationship or not, I draw people in. So it's easy for people to gravitate to me. Is it fair to them that I did not tell them about something that they could have said, hey, I didn't want to be a part of this. So that's where it came into the part where, okay, that's where it came into the point of where I had to decide, okay, you know what, Shantae, it's best for me to put it out up front. And typically when I say up front, don't laugh, I'm talking about probably second date. Second date, it's coming out because I want people to process it. I don't want people to go through the emotions and, the love bombing and all of that and then find out later this is something serious. And I knew also too, I had to take time to process. So why would I not give someone I'm intimate with or even a friend that same opportunity because they have to process it. Hopefully that answers your question.
That's good. I'm processing what you're giving me that's good. That's really good. But as I'm listening to you, and I think that's amazing. You're giving them time to process and you're talking, that's fair, but let's be honest, stigma shows up in lots of subtle ways, right? So can you share an experience where you had to confront or even overcome either your own internalized or even external stigma while you were dating and how did you get through it?
Wow. Well, I remember one time I was dating an individual, this same individual I have another story about. And we were watching one of I think the Tyler Perry movies. And there's a scene in there with a wife, and everyone probably knows what I'm talking about. The wife finds out that her husband has HIV or AIDS. And so the internal stigma, the internalized stigma I was facing was I knew that part was coming. And so immediately my stomach is turning. I'm getting nervous. I'm wondering, okay, do you want some water? You need something to drink? Because I want to run. I want to run. That was my natural thing. And I had to realize, okay, that part is going to play. It's not your story. It's similar to your story. But I started realizing there that I had some work that I need to do with myself because at the time he knew about my status and he was there. He was at my house. He already was committed. Why when that part came, I all of a sudden just went through all those different things. And I have to understand too, I'm reading and learning more about trauma. Your body keeps the score. And so every time those different things will come up, or if I see a commercial and someone's with me, I'm like, okay, why are they playing this HIV commercial right now? Because I know that's going to make people think about my diagnosis when there was so much more to me than my diagnosis. But I had to get over the fact that, Shantae, it's not so much about you. That's not the only thing that people see. And so I realized I had to do some internalized work. And so I had to dive deeper into therapy. And so I'm on the other side of it. Same gentleman, we're talking about it from an external standpoint. We broke up. Yeah, we broke. It didn't work out. It didn't work out, but we were friends. We were friends. I don't believe every relationship that ends has to end crazy. No, we were still good friends. And he was so excited that he got this new girlfriend, and women and men as well. We like to know who is she? And so he was explaining how he met her. He met her at the gas station. I was like, the gas station. But anyway, he met her at the gas station. He was describing her. I was like, okay, that's different for you. And he was like, so far it's been working out. So a part of me was, like that. It didn't work out with me, but a part of me was excited for him. And he said, you know what, Shantae, I didn't think that I was going to have a chance at love because I didn't think no one else was going to want me after they realized I was with you because they knew I was tainted. That was his exact words, tainted. And he was talking so fast and saying it because he was so excited about this new woman. And I remember I was getting ready to go inside my office actually a boardroom for a big meeting. And I just had to get it together because I said tainted. And so I went through the whole regimen of the meeting. And afterwards, I went back to my computer and I had to look up the word tainted. And I realized that it meant contaminated. And I later had to call him back that same day. I couldn't wait. No. And I had to process it. I had some tears. a lot of tears, because I was like, wow, how is this someone I've been in a relationship with for months? And backdrop, this person knew me for years, like since I was a little girl. This person knows me. You use the word tainted and contaminated? And so I called him and I said, hey, I'm very excited about, your girlfriend. And I'm glad it's working out, but we have to talk. I said, you used the word that's painful. It hurts. And I ran it back to him. He wasn't even aware he'd even said it. And so that lets me know that there was an unconscious bias he had there. And so I explained to him what it meant. And he was very apologetic. And I'm so glad we had that conversation, because he became one of my biggest allies and advocates. He pushed me when I didn't even want to be pushed more in the community. He's like, no, you have to do this. But it was based, I think, because I had to face the stigma. I had to face what was said, but also make him aware. But then we found a way to turn it around. And he's been very supportive ever since.
Wow. So you took something that could have been horrible and turned it into a teaching moment.
Yeah.
Love
And
love
of
it.
course he wanted me back after that. And I was like,
Of
no,
course.
no, we good.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So we got to turn this into a teaching moment. So tell me, what role does routine HIV testing and HIV prevention education play in how you now approach relationships and intimacy and even friendships?
Well, and we always hear this, you don't know what you don't know. I am so on top of my health now, and I don't believe I was that way before. Growing up with my mom was a single mom, and growing up with grandma and mom, there was just basic things we did. You're going to go to the dentist. Maybe if you get a cavity, you have routine checkups here and there if you're sick. It wasn't the normal thing in my household to get checkups. And so with HIV, I then started making sure, okay, not only do I need to make sure that my HIV is intact, I need to make sure everything else, whether it's my asthma, I need to see, okay, pre-diabetes is trying to creep up. Okay, what is that? What do I need to change? And so I think it's more so now I feel more empowered because I do know myself. I do know my body. I do know that things that are more susceptible for African American women that are different from other ethnicities. I know those things now that I don't think I would have known before. So it's given me a sense of empowerment in approaching it. And so when I get in relationships with people, not only are we talking about my HIV status, well, when the last time you got checked? What's up with you? Okay, so that's good. Okay. Well, have you even went to the okay, so you got tested. Have you even went and did a routine checkup? And so now it becomes that conversation to where typically anyone I date, it's both of us are trying to be healthy. And if there's times where I kind of slack off, they're like, okay, Shantae, you ain't been walking. Okay. And it's like we both get back out there. So I found that not only does it empower me, it empowers the relationship because from the beginning, they see that they can trust me. I'm upfront. I'm not going to hide anything from you. So that kind of builds that trust. Now we should be able to talk about anything that comes up, even if it includes, I really want to go and get me a Big Mac when I know it's not healthy for me. And I've gotten 3 already this week. Because that relationship is there and they understand that this is a journey and I need to stay healthy as well as they need to stay healthy, we can have that partnership and say, girl, you know you don't need that. At least wait till the weekend. So I've actually seen it. It empowers each other, everyone all around.
I love that. I love that. Prevention and testing is empowerment. That is such a positive message. I truly love that.
And don't talk about
So,
prevention. Hold up now. I forgot about that.
uh-oh.
Yeah. The number one question I get typically when people are interested is, so they typically come with, I've been doing my research. I'm like, okay, great. I love that. I love that start. And yeah, it's a lot of different things out now. So how can we do this? Well, do what? Because I want them to say it. Well, how can we and I'm like, well, actually, there's several ways. And so not only do I go into the traditional condoms, I'm like, hey, do you know about PrEP? And typically they may have heard about it, but may not know too much. I'm like, look, you are behind. Not only is there a pill, you can get an injection. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. So, I mean, it's no reason why we can't be what we need to be unless you act up. And so, just how I am about my health, I'm the same way with the various options. And I'm not just that way, even in love and romance. stay. I'm like that with my children. I'm like that with my siblings. I'm like that even with my mom. Let's talk about these are the options. If you're going to be out there, these are the things that you need to be aware of. Because I want people to know that it doesn't stop because I have an HIV diagnosis. And, even with being, or let me say this, even with taking preventative measures for STIs, I bring that up as well. So several different things out there.
That's excellent. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's family, whether it's new partner, whether it's friendships, keep it real and you empower people. That is such an
They all
amazing.
work together. Think
I
about
love it.
it. They all work together.
Yes. Yes. So, final question.
Okay.
And this is the hard-hitting takeaway message question. So for those who are newly diagnosed or supporting someone that they love or thinking about getting into a relationship with someone who's living with HIV, what is one truth you wish more people understood about love and HIV?
For one, I would say that it's possible for the two to coincide. It's not a hate thing or people are, because you automatically think the worst. People are not going to accept me. People are going to hate me. I want them to understand that the two can coexist. If I had to add a subcategory to that or a subtopic to that, I would say first know or recognize what love should be to you, because this is an opportunity. And I think sometimes I know as women that I've coached and supported, they don't see it that way initially. But this is an opportunity to say, hey, all that stuff we dealt with before, whether it was family, relationships, or children, anything, we get a chance because we are dealing with this and we need to be priority to say, going forward, this is what love should look like for us. And you don't know that until you first learn to love yourself. So it's kind of like going inward first, and then you're able to dictate what you need to gravitate and attract to you outward. I know that was a lot to say, but that's how I would sum all that up.
That was an excellent summary. Shantae, thank you so much for your time and for sharing with us today. To those of you listening and or watching, thank you for joining us. We hope you've gained amazing information from Shantae's story, and we hope you'll take the time to view many of our podcasts in the Empower series. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.